Welcome to the latest episode of First Impressions, where I try out brand new video games so you can see whether you think you'll like them before you ever have to spend a penny on them. And today we're looking at a game called Amerzone, The Explorer's Legacy, which is actually a remaster of Benoît Sokal's groundbreaking narrative-driven adventure. This comes out of the Micro studio in Paris. And the synopsis of the game is you set off on a quest for the great white birds in a mysterious land full of secrets. Answer the call of exploration as you travel to Amerzone, a forgotten Latin American country, to fulfill the last wishes of a late explorer. If you haven't already, do think about hitting like and subscribe below. It doesn't cost a single thing to do that, and it really helps the channel out. And I'd really just love for you to be part of this amazing community that we're growing here. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's get into the game. Here we go. Copies made. Delicious. In loving memory of Benoît Sokal, and it looks like it's been produced with permission of his family and is published by the Microids studio out of Paris, I believe. Very atmospheric start. And look, the first thing you notice about this, it looks great, but texture-wise, as is often the case with indie games, and I point this out because it's often the complaint of people who have kind of Rockstar Games expectations of every game. Now, this is a narrative-driven game as far as I'm aware, so the graphics are much less important in my opinion. Like, graphically it looks great. I'm not putting the graphics down. What I'm saying is the expectations of gamers often these days is that you have everything is hyper realistic, photorealistic, and meets the standards of those big AAA studios that might spend 20 years making a game. I think in a narrative driven game, if the story is great, there is much less need. Now, this looks good, don't get me wrong, there's no issue with the graphics, but it's not at that hyper-realistic level, nor do I think it needs to be.
You're the journalist, aren't you?
It still looks great.
I gave him your letter the other day.
All right.
The professor's probably
So you've been reading the mail.
He received another letter this morning. I put it in his mailbox.
Giving me a lot of information here
Letters
about
from the museum. They always mean trouble.
Someone else's mail.
Hey, maybe you could take it to him. He has trouble moving around, you know. He's an old man.
Now
You
you're
know what
giving
I mean.
medical information.
You want my advice? He should see a doctor.
Right, but you are a
Well, that's
postman,
what I
not
think anyway. Oh,
not a
and have
doctor.
care. It
So
looks like something fell from your bag over there. Well, then have a nice day.
bye. Au revoir. What have we dropped? Okay. Instructions from Mondial magazine. Professor Alexander Valenbois, he awaits you at his lighthouse in Brittany. Despite his unsavory reputation, he is the only expert on the little-known Amerzone, and we absolutely have to fill those last pages of the feature that Camille left so empty. Valenbois seems to have enjoyed your communications. Get what you can from him face-to-face and get back to Paris as soon as possible. The accounts department refuses to cover any hotel fees for this report. Right, well, I don't want the job then. Not for me, mate. If you don't want to pay me, if you don't want to cover my expenses, that is on you, my fine friend. Game over. Right, where are we going? Click on the forward icon, the arrow icon to move in that direction. You can skip movement by double-clicking and skip all movement automatically by changing the game settings. For your convenience, some movements are set to be skipped by default. Perfect. Okay. So you don't actually walk through the environment as such. It's a point and click style thing. We're really focusing on these geese. So it gives me the impression that it's going to be quite linear. It's going to be quite, driven in terms of, it's like a point and click adventure, but in a kind of three-dimensional environment. Heavy hint here to go over to look at this. Let's take a look. When in close-up view, move your cursor to the edge of the screen to shift your view slightly. Okay. Still zoom in. Nice. There's the lighthouse. That's where we're headed to, I think. Landgraven Peninsula. That's where we are, I think. Music's nice. It's kind of atmospheric. The soundscaping
My friend,
is good. The kind
this
of
old fool
wind
is
blowing through the
overjoyed that your
trees.
editor has finally decided to send you to interview me in person.
And the music just adds a layer of
As pleasant
feeling
as
to it,
has been,
adds a level of environment
our recent
to it.
correspondence will not allow me to discuss certain subjects as freely as I would like.
That is hyper realistic. Do you know how many times I've been walking down the canal near where I live?
You
And the
must be
geese
aware
just like a little
it's very close to home for me.
duck mafia on the edges of the canal.
That mysterious land is both the
Most
source
birds
of
and
my
ducks will
greatest
like fly
joys
away, run away when you
my
walk past them.
deepest
Not geese,
disgrace.
they're like, no, this is my bit of the canal
As
and you
my
can
old
get going,
friend
mate, and they'll chase
at
after
the
you.
museum.
They will chase after you and hiss at you. And then I think they've got
No
teeth.
matter what
Ducks
you
shouldn't have
say,
teeth.
I know what really happened over there in the 30s, when my companions and I ventured into the unknown wilds.
What happened in the 30s? Oh, we're off to the lookout point. Looking a bit rickety. Be careful, journalist. So during some cutscenes, you
My
can actually
friends
look
and
around.
we
Oh, look, a shipwreck.
caused harm.
Told you, didn't you?
Harm that I am determined
Do you see a
to heal
lighthouse?
today.
Back away.
But I need your help. Not only to finally bring my version of what happened to light, but perhaps to do even more. Time is running out. So,
Nothing good
safe
ever happens in a
travels,
lighthouse,
my
does it?
friend. I am quite pleased to welcome you to my humble abode. Signed, Professor Alexandre Valenbois.
Rocher Noir Lighthouse. Here we go, to the mailbox. You can directly control most mechanical elements in your surroundings. The hand icon is displayed. Click and hold the left mouse button and move. Ah, so you actually have to lift that up. Nice. Examining objects from all angles will help you discover information, sometimes even specific actions. Hold the left mouse button to rotate an object, then use your mouse to move the cursor until it changes. The magnifying glass cursor reveals useful information. The finger cursor enables you to perform a specific action. The museum's letterhead, a bad sign according to the mailman. Anything else on here? Let's rotate. Let's take a look at this letter. Museum of Natural History, Jardin de Plan, Paris. Mr. Valenbois, we have thoroughly examined your plans for a new expedition to the Amazon and regret to inform you that we are unable to give a positive response to your grant request. First, the present economic situation does not permit us to finance such risky expedition. It's the tariffs, man. It's the tariffs. Second, my colleagues and I are of the opinion that, unfortunately, you still have not renounced that empirical fallacy which was once the root of a lengthy dispute between yourself and the museum. This venerable institution, which I now have the honour of representing, still remembers the bitter disappointment and mockery within the scientific community that resulted from your first expedition in 1932, which we had been weak enough to sanction in the first place. Just as my honourable predecessors did back then, I will warn you against the dangers of such an undertaking where adventurous fantasy prevails over strict scientific rigour. Edouard Mulot, Curator. Nice. Let's open this up. The letter has been added to your documents. Here we go. Little journal here. Things that I can read. It's my return ticket. Train ticket to Montreal provided for my return to Paris as soon as my interview with Professor Valenbois is wrapped up. Yeah, so we've got the journal, which we can find here. This journal has already, within the game, has these 13 pages. So it goes back a little bit and gives you a bit of backstory, I think. After months of waiting on answered requests, desperate reminders, Mondial magazine has finally given me some work. My first gig. The magazine needs something to round off its year-end geography feature. It will be dedicated to a little-known South American country, Amerzone. It's next to Brazil, apparently, though I must admit I've never heard of it. My initial research hasn't turned up anything so far. I'll have to try and find an expert on the subject. And there's a bunch of pages leading up to today. Let's go inside and take a look inside this lighthouse. See if it's going to be as troublesome as I initially thought. Very dim in here. Very dim. As you progress along your journey, you may find investigative material, evidence that will help you unlock additional articles for your report. You don't have to conduct these investigations, but completing them will enable you to discover additional content and delve into the secondary element of the story. Investigations are recorded in the dedicated tab in your journal. Open it via the right click. Keep your eyes peeled and don't be afraid to go off the beaten path. Okay. Ah, what's this? Letter from teacher. Professor Valenbois, I've been told you no longer want to teach a workshop after next year after a disagreement with a parent of one of our pupils. For what it's worth, I sincerely think that you shouldn't take the comments of this individual who is already notorious within our team to heart. No one thinks you're a charlatan, you're a scientist, and the children love you. Year after year, I see how fascinated they are, and their teachers too, by your sessions on the Amerzone goose. Ah, that's why the goose is being focused on. And so I hope you might change your mind by writing to you. How to persuade you, little Sophia, who was also mesmerized by your last workshop, asked me to send you something. I've attached it to this letter along with the usual sign-up form for external educators. I hope you send it back to me and filled in as usual. Warmest regards, Ariane D. Okay. Little letter from a teacher there. Anything else here? Ah. I've literally walked into the lighthouse. Blank press card. Right, so there's nothing we can use on this. Already trying to get into... What's here? Second Life Recluse. Upon his return from expedition to Amerzone in 1930s, became a laughingstock of the scientific community. I'd like to dig a little deeper with this. We've got a letter from the teacher. Found a letter from the teacher begging Valenbois to return to his position as a teaching assistant in the local school. He recently quit following an altercation with a parent of one of the students. Okay, we got anything else in here? Ah. Langravin Scarlet Goose. Letter from teacher. According to this letter, until recently, Valenbois was still giving talks about the Amerzone and goose at a local school. Took residence at the lighthouse in Langravin on the coast of Brittany. His choice of residence was no coincidence, given the lighthouse is situated right outside the breeding ground of a bird that has always been of great interest to Valenbois, the Langravin Scarlet Goose, also known as the Amazonian goose. Each year, this creature migrates to the country from which it gets its name, the place that had fascinated and haunted Valenbois through his life. Collect all investigation material related to this article and unlock it. Okay. Nice. What's here now? Find Alexandra Valenbois. Okay. So, we can't get in there. Honestly, we've just got into the lighthouse. We really shouldn't be... Shouldn't be going through his stuff anyway. Let's go upstairs and see what he's got to say. A little bit of music playing. Has he got a gramophone on?
You are the journalist, aren't you?
I am.
Come. Come. Amerzone. Amerzone. Too late for me. Too late. It's all over for me. I'm no longer In good health.
I can tell, mate. You sound rough.
It's a pity. But what can I do? In any case,
Looks like there's something on the back of that frame.
Amerzone.
I have to investigate that.
No one ever believed me. So, after all those years, the egg
What egg?
is still alive. Yes.
What's this egg of which you speak?
I had planned to take it back over there to Amerzone.
Did you steal an egg, you naughty professor? You need to have a sit down, mate.
My expedition was ready. And all planned out to the smallest detail.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I have no strength left. You must go for me.
We've only just met, man. You're asking me to go all the way to South America from Paris.
Take the egg of the white birds back to Amerzone. I beg you, please.
His skin is not good. He
You
needs
will find everything you need
a bit of rejuvenation.
right here in the lighthouse.
So there's another staircase going up.
Go to the basement.
I tried to get into your basement already. It was locked.
Please. You must help. For her.
You alright? Oh no. Oh no. So early in the game, an immediate death. He's just not bothered about the corpse. Immediately to the map. Oh, he's taking that off to just to place over him. Just cover that up. Nobody wants to really see the corpse. Okay, we're just about there. Let's talk about this game quickly. This is kind of unexpected for me. I didn't know the history of this game. I've not played it before, so you know it's all new to me. As opposed to being a game where you kind of navigate around yourself, it's definitely akin to a point and click adventure, where you kind of say where you want to go, and it takes you there. And as you go through, you do find yourself skipping the kind of walking moments a lot. They seem to take up time that's not really necessary to take up. I think maybe if I'm continuing to play it, I would probably turn that off and just like, if I click somewhere, I'm there instantly. It's nice at the start to experience the environment and stuff. This is built in Unreal Engine 5, so the environment is, you know, three-dimensional and not fully explorable by any means, but, you know, definitely has a realistic element to it. Although, as I said before, it's not got that kind of hyper-realistic thing that you would expect. The puzzles are intriguing. There's definitely a huge amount of detail in here. Lots of little things to find, and it's definitely helpful to see all of the things that you can explore. What would be nice is once you have explored something, that it kind of ticks it off so you know you've viewed it before, because there is so much detail within in the environments. You know, so many notes to read, so many letters to read, so many items to look at, so many things to find. There are elements that you come across, elements that I came across early that were not solvable at the time without going to get more information. So exploration is definitely a key part of this game. But it'd be nice to go have a kind of list of things of, yeah, you've done this, you've looked at this, don't worry about this. The hints are definitely helpful, because there are certain elements like the computer password. I hadn't clocked that earlier. I'd read a note, for example, that the PW equals birthday I hadn't clocked that that was birthday, so the hint saying, oh, sometimes people use birthdays, etc., and then I could go to the passport and find the birthday. You know, those hints are definitely helpful, and, you know, I definitely find myself utilizing them through the game, certainly if there was a particular puzzle that I was stuck at. There are little Easter eggs in there that are, you know, little puzzles that you wouldn't even know were there, like the globe, for example, going into the globe and figuring out. I don't even know how I figured that out, like what order that goes in. I just kind of was guessing the different combinations, and then opening up a chest. There is so much literature in here that within this little review, I haven't, you know, read all of it. And even if I was playing the game continually, I don't think I'm not sure I would take the time to consume all of that. You would spend so much time just reading the stuff that I'm not sure how much of that you would take in. I'm sure there are some people with the mindset of like they will read everything meticulously, take everything in, and it does add to the depth of the story, definitely. The music and the environment, the kind of atmosphere of the whole thing is really well done. The music, you know, adds mystery, adds levity to it, and it definitely feels like there are mysteries to be solved and there are things to figure out. And like a lot of these games where at first you're like, oh my god, how am I ever going to figure out what this is, you know, and you spend a bit of time going, oh, maybe it's just a logical thing I need to go through, and then you realize, let me go away from this, go and discover other stuff and figure out where it is. So there's intrigue to it, there's mystery. I had kind of planned to stop a lot earlier, but was really drawn in, wanting to complete this first section of the game within the lighthouse. And even now, there's one bit of information, there's one last thing that I need to go and try and find where it's. I don't know where it is. I thought I'd explored everything, I thought I'd looked at everything, but I haven't. So now I'm going through every room again, going, okay, what have I missed here? Is there something that's hidden away? Is there something that I've missed? Is there something I haven't consumed? So that kind of checklist of things, even though they are optional, some of them, it really does make you want to go through. And that's why it's taken me so long to get through just this first part. I'm playing for about 2.5 hours. Just this first part is because I'm trying to explore every little nook and cranny, make sure I've got all of everything ticked off. And you do find yourself going back and forth a little bit. And maybe the fast travel could have been introduced a little bit sooner. But obviously you've got to explore all the different rooms in order to get fast travel. So, you know, I see the reasons for that, but half the time I was like, okay, I found a slide for the projector, let me put it in, look at it, and then you realise, oh, there's 6 to find. You know, if I was going back and playing it again, I'd be like, okay, let me go and find all the stuff first and then come back to this before I do it. But that's part and parcel of this kind of game. You know, it's a narrative-driven, point-and-click adventure in this kind of 3-dimensional world, and it's done really well, particularly some of the little cutscenes with the animations and the drawings, and is really beautifully done. Some of the you know, the adding narrative, I'm not even sure whether I experienced it in the right order, but they were really beautifully done, particularly, you know, the music, the voiceover, really well done. Voice acting is really nice in this. I like how the story is told. I'd love it if it was a game where I could walk around and explore things, but that's not what it is. That's not what this game is about. So I am intrigued to go forward and see what it's all about. I am intrigued to solve the mysteries. I'm intrigued to see more of the history of what's going on with the different people that this person's met along the way. You know, there's lots to love about this, and it is very, very well done. So I think there's lots more adventure to come with this. I think there's lots more to discover, and I think it's really worth giving it a go, especially if you love point-and-click adventures that are narrative-driven, and if you love puzzle solving, because if that's your kind of game, then this is going to be absolutely for you. Certainly, when I first started it, I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be a grind. I'm not going to enjoy this. I don't know whether it's going to be for me. This is not the kind of game necessarily that I usually play. And then suddenly it's 2.5 hours later, and here I am, still playing it, still trying to figure out where things are hidden, still trying to figure out mysteries, still trying to solve stuff. And I am keen to go and get in my little floaty ship plane thing and get on my adventure and get to South America and meet new people and figure out what this egg is all about. I don't think there's anything so difficult in there that you're going to rage about it, and the hints will help you move forward. So that's always a good thing, because there are some games where, you know, there's a puzzle and it's like, how, where, what? I can't be bothered to play this because I don't know what comes. I don't know how to move forward. So the hints are super helpful. So congratulations to the guys over at Microids in Paris. I didn't play the original game, so I can't really speak to how this is as a remaster. But as a game that I'm playing for the first time, really enjoyed it, and definitely recommend you guys give it a go. I'll put a link down to Steam below. If you're not going to buy it now, maybe give it a wish list. It's a really good way of showing the developers that you're interested in helping them. It doesn't cost you anything to wishlist the game. If you do play it, make sure you leave a review as well. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Specifically, some of those cutscenes, I think were just really well done. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe below. It doesn't cost a single thing to do that. If you want early access to this kind of content, also my reactions, my vlogs, my game reviews, all of the other stuff that's going on here, then you can, if you want to, click join below. There's a membership program here on YouTube that has a small cost associated with it with a bunch of benefits. Or if you would rather do it off platform, you can go to co-fi.com/charmthegamer, and there's a bunch of benefits on there as well if you want to become a paid supporter of the channel. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining the community, and I will see you on the next one.